Hello, this is Alex, and welcome to the full Boomstick Gaming review for the latest expansion to Frostpunk: The Last Autumn. The new extension to this survival city builder axes the snowy temperature anxiety of the core gameplay and offers an equally brutal new challenge to truly put your will-write skills to the ultimate test.
It feels like the weather is changing. And the winter seems inevitable.
The Last Autumn is a brand new scenario you can start at any time, with a few new building types like the resource-producing docks for example, along with new objectives, story beats, laws to enforce, and of course, plenty of new stress-inducing management situations to overcome. As you can tell, the frigid climate of the other maps is completely absent here, and you will not need to micromanage the temperature of your buildings. Take that as a plus or minus depending on your preference. This does not mean this scenario is necessarily easier by any means, because you'll be truly pressed for time for trying to meet your construction deadlines while also monitoring the growing toxic fumes emitted from your city's core. Your primary objective is to build piece by piece the heat-producing main generator found in the other maps, with this scenario functioning as a true prequel to the base campaign. To construct each section of the generator, you'll need to effectively utilize some of the new structures added in this DLC to ensure you can meet the growing demands of the more advanced production. In classic Frostpunk fashion, this is a survival style game, and you'll need to constantly juggle frequent strikes, horrifying injuries, riots, political espionage, people getting frisky in the bathhouse, and of course, you're constantly depleting supplies of food and resource materials. This is not just about how beautiful of a city you can construct, and this will really test your critical thinking skills, your time management, and your patience, because if you happen to let down your upper management and not meet your construction goals in time, game over for you, you're fired. Reloading some older saves can sometimes save a run from complete disaster, but in traditional roguelite style fashion, if you do lose and have to start over, your next attempt will have the benefit of your gained knowledge from failure, and you will likely double your effectiveness on that next go, which is always a rewarding feeling. The harsh time penalties present here might turn off some, but I did find it to be not quite as daunting overall, since you need not concern yourself with freezing citizens, but still, The Last Autumn is quite punishing in its own right. Now over to the performance side of things, playing this at max settings on a RTX 2070 i7 9700K with 32GB of RAM, the frame rate, like almost every city builder out there, starts off strong, but you'll see some severe dips the bigger and bigger your city becomes over time. You might find yourself lowering and lowering the settings the more successful you become. Also, a small annoyance still present is that I prefer playing at double speed, which is easily toggled, but you'll find that the game often reverts you back down to normal speed quite frequently after interacting with certain interface elements, and there's not really much to tweak in the options menu overall. Again, these are small nitpicks in the grand scheme of things, and other than that, the UI and gameplay mechanics are just as solid and intuitive as they were in the main game. The Last Autumn provides a pretty enjoyable new scenario, taking away but also adding new elements to the game, and although it might not feel entirely different than what came before it, it does achieve what it sets out to. If you found the temperature juggling of the main campaign to be a little too involved and would prefer a more straightforward in-your-face challenge, you might actually prefer this new content over the original. For die-hard fans, this expansion might not completely reinvent the wheel, but you'll still find much of what you loved about the core gameplay, but just more of it slightly tweaked. Overall, the team behind Frostpunk really shows a refinement of their craft with The Last Autumn, and when this is combined with the already great main scenario, pretty safe to now say this is by far the best survival city builder package you could find. Those are my overall thoughts on the Last Autumn DLC for Frostpunk, and I ultimately found this game to be a strange combination of relaxing and quite tense at the same time, but honestly I tend to really enjoy the odd feeling in games for some reason. Now, if you happen to like my style of review, consider subscribing to Boomstick Gaming for more, clicking that little bell icon to keep notified about my new uploads, which I actually have a few in the works right now, and you can also find me on Twitter at BoomstickAlex. Lastly, a special mention to these top supporting YouTube members and patrons who help out this individually owned and operated channel quite a great deal. As always, this has been Alex from Boomstick Gaming, and thanks for watching.